Hello everyone, my name is Noel, and I'm here to give you 5 tips for teaching online. Number 1. The first tip is mental mindsets. Now, we may not be exactly where we are with teaching online. A lot of your students are going to be dissatisfied with not being able to see you face to face, not having a physical classroom, or being able to go on their campus. But despite all of these things, you are still a teacher. They are still your students, and you need to take control of your class from day one. And part of that, the most important part, is your attitude. Your students are going to be, unfortunately, bored, easily distracted. Um, they're going to be a little confused and may not exactly know where you're leading them. So you need to know for yourself where you want to take them, and make sure that you really bring a positive attitude to the table. Your enthusiasm and just your motivation for the course really transmits to the students, even from a webcam. And so you basically want to make it as good of a sensory experience as you can for them. This means not using a monotone voice, just using inflection in your voice, looking at the camera, and basically just doing everything you possibly can to give them a good experience. And I think you'll find that alone will just take you to just you'll just get far just with your attitude alone. Um, the second thing, it has to do with technical mastery. Now, if you whether or not you're teaching your students through Zoom or Blackboard or Canvas or one of the other kinds of learning management software, you need to make sure that your students know how to use the technology, and that you know that they know, basically. That you need to get some kind of feedback from them to know that they're on board. Um, in the beginning, it is going to be a little bit of a battle to make sure that everyone is keeping up. Um, and in the beginning, you want to spend a few sessions just doing tutorials to go over the technical details of just making sure that people know how to access their homework, their assignments, how to communicate with you, and basically just how to use the different features that are on there. Most schools will have training sessions that will go over how to do this, but even within your own class, there are a number of things you can do to make sure that everyone is on board. Um, what I like to do is I ask the students for basically how they're doing with the software, and I give them opportunities to basically teach each other how to use the software. Uh, I give extra credit for just going over how to use different features on the site, and unfortunately, I trying to make this as open as possible. I don't know what software specifically you're using, but you basically just want to spend a few sessions in the beginning just going over everything and just making sure that the students know what to do. Um, it is okay to make mistakes in the beginning. You can pretty much expect that to happen, but but as long as you spend some energy trying to get everyone to um, really get a good grasp of the software, that's really going to carry you far in the class. Um, the other subject, point number 3, is basically to have a contingency plan for when things don't work the way you want them to. Um, Specifically, I'm talking about basically I'm talking about cheating. Cheating is nothing new to us. It's been there since the very beginning of education, and it's still something that you have to deal with online. The important thing is just that you should have a contingency plan for what to do. Um, Now, I find that the online format is good in some ways and bad in other ways. Um, the way that students cheat will be different from the way they do it in a physical classroom, but you can pretty much expect that some of your students are going to be looking things up on Google and on their phones, and basically just trying to find ways to get around not doing the work and not putting the effort and the studying into it. Um, And I find that just having a lot of frequent online quizzes, just by this I mean like frequent low stakes testing, is something that actually just helps with performance. That if you give them a lot of questions, and also spread it out over a good time period, you can basically really work to shape their study habits and their just the rate of their learning. And when the questions themselves aren't worth just a whole lot of points, that's really going to work to reduce the amount of resentment students may have over just not knowing the material or not being able to use the softwares proficiently as you'd like them to. And again, that goes back to my tip number two to basically make sure that they have mastered the technical aspects of your software. But number three is basically to talk about cheating and just talk about the consequences, and just give them chances to basically get more points and to make things up if they mess up, because no one wants to be pigeonholed into basically feeling like they have lost the entire semester and have no way of getting out of it. You want to give them a little bit of an escape route just to make sure that they can bounce back if there are any sort of setbacks. Another thing that I like to do is to use something called Bloom's taxonomy, and I don't want to get into too much detail about that. You can Google it, but basically, one of the aspects of it is that you can use creativity as a part of your assignments to basically ensure that they don't cheat, since creativity is not something like with multiple choice questions where they could just get the answers online. Like they have to think and just analyze things and really go over their thoughts and put them in and produce something for you that basically makes cheating a lot more difficult. And there is also software out there to basically detect plagiarism, and you want to, if you have that available to you, to use that software, and again to let them know that, basically to give them some kind of feedback that lets them know that it will catch those situations for when they are cheating. So then they'll have a consequence tied to that particular decision, and hopefully they won't make that decision again. So have a contingency plan for cheating. The fourth tip is to use social rewards. Now, we are social creatures, and this is something that has been tied to our nature and our cultures, since the beginning of time, since our caveman days. And basically, people do things because they know that their actions will have consequences for the group, for how they're perceived by the group, and you want to make sure that basically good study habits and good learning habits are rewarded, and basically to use social rewards. So what I mean by this is that when someone does the work and puts the effort into studying and really mastering the subject, just a very simple method is to basically give a question to the class, call out on those students who raise their hand, which they could do on webcam, or they could use the software to basically ping your attention, and basically have them give you the answer, and if it's right, praise them, and basically make sure that the other students can see that, and to recognize that kind of accomplishment, because it matters for those students that put the effort into it. And you could that also works negatively, and which you should be aware of. I don't like to use the negative aspect of it, since I think that's kind of automatic and the students will do that on their own. But again, it's very important to have those kinds of rewards. And there are also other kinds of software. One that I like to use is Kahoot, which basically, again, uses the social rewards, basically gives students the recognition for putting in that work to really master the subject. And so you want to be using as many of those techniques as you can. Okay, and the last tip, the fifth one, is basically just to make peace with imperfection. Now, um, it's something that I've encountered in my own teaching, and especially now when everyone is doing things for the first time and doing things that we're not used to. A lot of us are not used to being in front of a camera and are very self-conscious of ourselves and can really see all those steps in our path where we make mistakes, and it's going to create a lot of negative feelings that really are largely unnecessary. That nothing is going to be perfect. Your videos aren't going to be perfect. Your online classroom is not going to be perfect. Um, you'll plan things out in your head and they won't exactly work out exactly the way you want them to. But despite all of those things, you could still be in a good place where people can learn and grow and really just flourish. And part of that is just, again, making peace with imperfection. Just accepting that you are human. We all make mistakes, and that you are going to make these mistakes, and you're going to learn from them, and you're going to be able to walk away from them having learned something and growing as a teacher and as a person. And a lot of us are held back by our mistakes and our own perception of ourselves, and it really isn't necessary. Like, you can just let that all go. I think it's even good for the students to see their teacher making mistakes from time to time. Like, as long as you're prepared and compassionate with your students, they know that it's okay to make mistakes from time to time. That you can deal with it in a way that is mature and creative, and that really speaks to them on a human level. So you just want to just show your humanity and just try to connect with the students. So I've tried to sum it up here in my little clipboard. So my 5 tips for teaching online again. So number one, your mental mindsets, your attitude. Just try to be as positive as you can and try to have a can-do attitude. Number two, to reward technical mastery. Go over Blackboard and Canvas and just all of your software that you use, and just really make sure that your students know what they're doing. Three, to address cheating, have a contingency plan. Give also to give your students ways to make it up to you, to regain points, to bounce back from the class if they need to. Number four, use social rewards. Make sure that students get recognition for the work that they put into it, and that'll make them put even more effort into it, and really to hone down their study skills. And last, to make peace with imperfection. And this last point is one that I really have to think about, over and over again, especially at the end of the day. That we are teachers, and this is our life, and sometimes we get so caught up in the little details that we don't really stop to take stock of everything. But in a way, it really is satisfying just to, even when things go wrong, just to be in the position that you're in, and just to know that you have students that are looking up to you and that are really trying to understand the material and really valuing the effort and the feedback that you get from them, and that you put into the class. That it really is all about that connection, about establishing that sort of dynamic. So, I hope that these tips were useful for you and that you can incorporate some of them into your own classroom. Please let me know what you think. Leave any comments, and subscribe to my channel once I get it up and running. And thank you very much for watching this video. I hope to come up with more soon. And originally when I started this, I had like 25 tips, but just wanted to keep it simple for now. And I think that's also something that you should try to incorporate as well. And remember, at the end of the day, we're doing this not for the money, but because we love it, and because it really, I think, is one of the greatest professions. And so just you know, at the end of the day, just remind yourself that you are doing a good job. Even just by watching this video and by trying to improve and trying to reflect on your classroom, that you already are doing a good job. So, you know, give yourself a pat on the back and just hang in there. So sometimes we'll get dark and we'll have you questioning things, but you just need to stick through with it, and I think you'll find that things are really going to be successful at the end, and that there are really a lot of opportunities to be had here. So once again, my name is Noel, and thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe, and good luck with your classroom. Best of luck to you. Thank you.